And yes, we are back. Shout outs to us for making it back. It is your boy Kexis. Today we are watching Gaming is quote unquote too toxic and it's your fault. Let's see what they talking about though. It ain't my fault. Nah.
Alright, what's going on, guys? If you've been in an online community of gaming at any capacity, then I'm sure you're very familiar with the term toxic communities. It's been a very hot topic recently, especially as gaming evolves.
It's funny, I didn't even this is how toxic League quote unquote was. I didn't even know you would consider that toxic. I thought all gaming communities was like League. Like you mess up, you immediately have to judge them and say something to bring them down. I honestly thought that's how all gaming communities was. I was wrong.
So much
Or was I? I don't know.
beyond simply sitting down and playing a game. Video games are no longer just a hobby or a pastime, they're
Uh-oh,
much
Bill
more than
Clinton.
that. And regardless of if you think that's a good or a bad thing, the reality is that as gaming grows bigger and bigger, it's going to become much more observed and regulated by the people at the top. And the primary target right now is online chat. Now, I've been seeing a ton of articles recently talking about toxicity, and I figured there's so much going on that I have to make a video about this. And one primary example that when I saw really blew me away. But first, let's talk about the overview of what exactly this toxicity is. Now, I know there's a large contingent of people out there that don't believe in toxicity, and to an extent, I understand. For my entire childhood, the internet was kind of like the Wild West, and I grew up in that time, where if I opened my mouth in a video game, I was gonna be called some of the most obscene slurs you can ever imagine. I grew up as a kid playing.
I honestly before League, I hadn't really experienced nothing bad, but really was on that single player game time. So, but League didn't have in-game voice. So my first in-game voice experience was CS:GO, and yeah, you can imagine how that went.
In the Modern Warfare 2 and Black Ops lobbies on Xbox Live, so I've heard everything in the book. I've been called everything in the book. I understood that playing Call of
Everything.
Duty on Xbox Live meant that I was going to run into those things. For example, when I got Halo Reach after that game came out, my Xbox was set up in the family living room, and we had just gotten the Xbox Connect for Christmas. Now, some of y'all might know where I'm going with this, but if you've ever played on Xbox Live with a Connect hooked up, everyone in the game can hear every sound that you make, and the in-game chat will go through the outside speakers. So when I booted up Halo Reach for the first time, they could hear my whole family talking in the background, and so that was a golden opportunity for the people in the game to start cussing out my entire family. So I learned real quick exactly how toxic online
I mean, I'm just saying, bro. I wouldn't have said nothing, but I would have been like, "Hey, man, if I hear your baby crying, bro, stop. Go get out of the lobby. Just go handle that. I don't want to hear it. I wouldn't be toxic. I'd just be like, yo, I don't want to hear it. Leave. Plain and simple. We're here to play Halo, not listen to pots and pans, bro. But I did go through the Skype days of playing games and Skype chat, so sometimes, pots and pans, parents talking crazy.
communities can be. And so going forward, I also knew to expect that. It was almost part of the experience. As a collective, everybody kinda knew that when the mics got turned on, people were gonna be wilding out. And I say all that to illustrate that I see both sides here. That it can be harmful, but also just going to happen regardless. But the atmosphere around these communities has changed. The discussion now is that, is it time to shut this down? Is it time to not let online communities just be a free range like the Wild West anymore? Which brings us to this article. Activision teams up with Caltech to develop AI system to combat toxic behavior in Call of Duty. Now, Activision trying to crack down on the toxicity in Call of Duty isn't exactly anything new. Call of Duty specifically has gained some insane notoriety over just how toxic their communities are. I'm sure we've all heard that saying now, you would not have survived a Modern Warfare 2 search and destroy lobby, which is kind of thrown around as an insult to people who are quote unquote soft and are trying to combat this. But since Call of Duty is the primary part of Activision,
I mean, I have heard that, but to read to me is like if that's the bar you set, you wouldn't have survived in the hood. People in the hood roast you for anything. Oh, you eating extra? Oh, you big? Oh, looking boy? Oh, you eating extra? You fat face looking like You look like your mom's big barefoot looking. Like, I'm just saying, bro. You could be doing nothing, you get roasted. So like I'm indifferent here.
brand. I'm sure that's not a look they want to have. So let's get into the article. Activision
Ooh.
Blizzard is collaborating with researchers to develop AI against online abuse. The effort will be a 2-year project which aims to detect harmful user behavior online. Joining the gaming firm is Senior Director of AI Research at NVIDIA and BRC and Professor Anima Anandkumar and Professor of Political and Computational Social Science, Michael Alvarez. We want to know how players interact. What kind of language do they use? What kind of biases do they have? What should we be looking for? That requires domain expertise.
What kind of biases are what kind of biases do they have? If this player sucks or if I suck. That's literally it. What should we be looking for? I don't think anything really sets it off. I think people kind of go into these games ready to have that like say something crazy because you can't really say it in other spaces. So it's just like it's just a free realm just to, act crazy. In my opinion, if they just put them in all lobby together, they're fine. Just put them all in the same lobby so they ruin each other's lobby. I feel like they would stop and tell them that they're in their lobby so they know. Like, I don't know, something like that I think would go a long way.
Kumar said. Now, I do find it kind of strange that they're asking what to be looking for. I mean, I don't exactly think it's any kind of secret of what goes on in Call of Duty lobbies. People just say crazy stuff to say crazy stuff. Now, as for biases, there definitely is a stigma that goes on against female players. There's countless videos out there of girls getting on the mic and then instantly getting met with some of the worst language you can ever imagine. But then that does raise the question, though, of are those things that people really feel? Or is that more of just a meme of the culture? Because it says that when they're going to be looking for biases, I'm not exactly sure that's something that's going to be rooted in the psychology of the player, more so than it is a product of memes. But let's go ahead and keep reading. Additionally, Activision Blizzard announced what actions it's taking to create safer online experiences. The Call of Duty maker attributed the announcement to the Anti-Defamation League's newest report. Since the survey's release, the firm says that it's been in talks with the ADL on how it's combating player abuse. The gaming giant also shared how it's protecting players online. Some of the efforts are listed below. A code of conduct for Call of Duty, an improved in-game reporting system, a warning system for players who exhibit disruptive behavior, and a mandatory social contract for users who play World of Warcraft.
A mandatory social contract for users who play World of Warcraft. Oh, because Activision Blizzard. So if you get your account banned, or if it's not in good standings in this game, it could affect you in WoW. I feel like it's not WoW players doing this. I could be wrong. I don't know. But I feel like this is really extra, and this does not really combat the root issue. I think an improved in-game reporting system would probably be the best. Like if you're that serious about it, like if you're really that serious about it, um, yeah, ban their whole account after like 3 strikes. Have someone go through have like a tribunal system. I know you have employees. I don't know what they're working on. I know you can have interns. Have them go through reports manually. Person gets 3 strikes for saying some off the wall, whatever standards you set. Their account is gone. They have to buy the game again. And there is no way someone's gonna buy this game like more than 3 times. After the third time, like, bro, this game is still $60. I'm gonna rethink my life. I think that's all it takes.
Now, I have a few things I want to say about that. My first thought when reading that was that, is this really abuse? When you're in an online game, everybody that you're talking to is completely anonymous, unless you're in a party, and they don't know who you are. You already have the tools of the mute button and the ability to block other players, so at what point is that the responsibility of the player to clean up the things that they're hearing? You already have the tools to get that quote-unquote abuse out of your ears, so I'm not exactly sure how to answer that. But when it comes to the tools they've already implemented, let's talk about this code of conduct for Call of Duty. Number 1, treat everyone with respect. We do not tolerate bullying or harassment, including derogatory comments based on race, gender identity or expression, sexual orientation, age, culture, faith, mental or physical abilities, or country
Mental.
of origin. Communication with others, whether using text or voice chat, must be free of offense or harmful language. Let me get the elephant out of the room real quick. This is a very utopian rule because everybody's so touchy now, you have no idea what's going to be offensive to somebody or not. It is quite literally impossible to know. So if you make a joke that everybody in your lobby finds funny except one person, they have the ability to get you banned for breaking code of conduct, even if what you said wasn't meant to be offensive. So yeah.
Can you imagine if you were like, hallelujah, we just won that game, thank you Jesus, thank you Jesus, and then someone was like, oh hell no. This guy just gave my win to Jesus? That ain't happening. And then you get banned.
This sounds
Bro.
nice, but it's impossible to
Bro.
enforce. And the second, compete with integrity, is basically saying don't cheat or use exploits. But at that point, how can you blame the player if your game is broken and they have an exploit to actually exploit? Now, if they're hacking or cheating, yeah, definitely they need to be banned. And the final one, stay vigilant to promote an enjoyable gameplay experience. Utilize in-game tools to report any incidents or inappropriate behaviors you encounter. Now, I can attest that I have played a lot of Modern Warfare 2 since this code of conduct went live, and trust me, it did absolutely nothing. Call of Duty lobbies are still
Nothing.
Call of Duty lobbies. People just choose to not obey the code of conduct. And I'm gonna be honest, I kinda like it. It's fun to talk crap in a competitive Call of Duty game. And sometimes I'm on the receiving end of that. If some dude says I sound like a 40-year-old dad with 6 kids and accuses me of using a voice changer, it really doesn't bother me that much. The game is rated M to begin with, and I think at that point, if you can't handle a little bit of insults, maybe just mute the person. But I also understand that not everybody's like me. And with this new AI, that may not even be an option. In no uncertain terms, disruptive behavior online is an unacceptable problem that transcends any single industry. No person should be meant to feel unwelcome, unsafe, or targeted when they're online, especially because of who they are, what they believe, or their background. So I'm gonna be honest here. I agree that people should be able to play a game without getting bullied. But does that transcend everybody else's right to talk online in a competitive manner? Obviously, they shouldn't be out here saying slurs every other word. But like I said earlier, even if they're not, they have no idea what's offensive to one person and not to another. It kind of reminds me of the conversation around invasions in Elden Ring, where people were quite literally attributing a feature of the game as an equivalent to assault. The ability to access competitive multiplayer in the game was seen as toxic by a very large portion of the community. There was also that League of Legends player who had his tournament win revoked, and his
Excuse me. What do you say? Apex Legend Pro banned from tournament for teabagging teammate. What? An Apex Legend Pro has been permanently banned from a tournament circuit for teabagging his own teammate. He say League of Legends?
of the community. There was also that League of Legends player who had his tournament win revoked, and his entire team banned from competing again after jokingly teabagging his teammate. And actually,
Oh
what used to be
my
seen as a
goodness.
harmless joke is now considered a form of sexual harassment. So I just
Wow.
have to ask, where is the line here?
You can that cannot be real. I mean, never mind. I don't know. That's sad.
Here. What other game companies are going to be following suit like Activision, where AI are going to be dictating what is and isn't offensive?
Oh, they're all gonna do that. Once the moment they find out it works and it looks good in the meeting, when they can be like, hey, Bob, by the way, our new metrics came in. Toxicity is down 100%. So you can go put that on a forum post somewhere, pay some people on Reddit to upvote it. Tell our stock people toxicity is down, all-time low. And then they're gonna be like, well, if it works for the Activision or if it works for Call of Duty, then I gotta, hop on board.
And what does or does not deserve a ban. It's honestly a pretty scary thought to think about, because all of the blame is being put on your average player, when they're not even going to know what the parameters of a ban are. Regardless of the thought of what is or isn't offensive, I don't think this is a good thing for the future of online gaming. This utopia that we see in the future where nobody is offensive in an online game, and nobody performs any actions that makes another person feel uncomfortable, is just never going to happen. So when these AI systems take over completely, which is a realistic possibility, what's going to stop them from banning everyone who's even slightly competitive? Hopefully that's not a reality we ever have to face. But it does make me curious to hear your guys' thoughts.
I feel like long as they have a button that can turn it on and off, it shouldn't get too bad. But knowing, what I know, how companies don't know how to do anything right, it can ruin a game. It will ruin some games.
How far do you think this is going to go? And do you think a future is possible where people are no longer offensive in online communities? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But aside from that, if you enjoyed today's video, be sure to leave a like on it and subscribe if you're new around here.
No, because on quote unquote online competitive gaming spaces is who come to these spaces not with the intentions of being number one, but to in some way or another just either enjoy the game or find some validation through the game. That's why you have angry outbursts in the first place. And I'm not judging. It's like the same reason there's like you want to even like have like with ranks. It's the same reason you want people to know your rank. Like you want people to know what like this is how far I got off the ladder, because it's kind of like a way to show your skill. It's just a bigger issue at hand. So there is no real ailment because it's a very human issue. Like everyone goes through this, especially guys. Again, I'm talking about specific to gaming though.
And I'll catch you in the next one.
Um, I, I don't know. That's more bleak than I was expecting. Cause yeah, it takes one company for it to take off, and then everyone's gonna be like, oh yeah, let's get it in League of Legends, and oh let's get it in our MMO, and obviously you could just not play those games, but there might come a time where you want to play a game that has that feature. You can't opt out of it, and sometimes I don't know. Slippery slope, but that's the video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You know the motto: tell someone you appreciate them, tell someone you love them, because I appreciate you guys watching, and see you in the next video. Peace.